So one of the most exciting things in the last few years in photography and videography has had to be drones. And I know a lot of you love seeing the drone footage in my videos. So here's an entire video of drone footage shot in the last week of July this year. Now I've had drones for the last few years, starting with the DJI Phantom 4 to my current drone, a DJI Mavic Air, which I've been using for all my aerial videos and photos for the last 3 or so years. And I think they're as important as any other piece of photography equipment and something you should certainly consider adding to your kit if you haven't already. Now I've been very lucky this week to test out the brand new drone from DJI, the DJI Mavic Mini Pro 3 with RC controller. And I have to say a huge thank you to DJI Australia and DJI Crossmark who loaned this unit to me. So I've taken it out this week and shot as many trains as I could from here in Melbourne to Geelong and along the Northeast line. So I guess why a drone? And I mean, why not? It's a piece of equipment that not long ago we would have needed a helicopter or a plane to get these kind of shots. And now we've got something right here that weighs less than a lens or a HO scale locomotive. Now on weight, this drone, as is, weighs 249 grams, which means you can fly it in more places with less restrictions. And on that, I'm not going to go too much into drone laws and regulations as they do vary from place to place and country to country. Here in Australia, I do recommend downloading an app called OpenSky, which will let you know where you can and cannot fly before you go flying. As well as that, these drones do have geofencing, so they're smart enough to let you know where you can and can't fly and will promptly tell you so, or it will let you know what you are restricted to in terms of height and distance. For example, here at a spot that features extremely regularly in my videos at Glenroy, on the upside of Jacana Station on the freight line, is a location you cannot fly due to its proximity to Essendon Airport. Now this drone came out in May this year and I've never seen a release this popular. I mean, we can't get enough of them at work, and for good reason. Now there's a heap of videos out there that go through the nitty-gritty on spec for this thing, so here's a really quick overview. It's got a 35-minute battery, it shoots in 4K UHD video, and I've mixed the footage up in this video from using the automatic settings to the manual settings, so if you can see a difference, do let us know. I should also point out I have done a small amount of color correction just to bring back some highlights. This drone can shoot a stacked 48 megapixel photo, which I've posted on my Instagram and on my website. It has all the safety features like obstacle detection and return to home if it loses signal. And one of my favorite things, USB-C charging. So that means that if you have a power bank or a USB outlet pretty much anywhere, you can charge it on the go. Now this model is also the RC kit, which means that it has a screen built into the controller. Now as someone who's had older drones for the last few years, I'll be honest, it's very handy not having to plug a phone or a tablet into the holder and dealing with things like pairing or cables or messages and notifications coming up from other apps. So in less than a minute or so, it's up in the air, which means if you're out chasing, it's just as quick to set up as a video camera with a tripod, or I guess near enough. Now in terms of what you can do with these, it's more than just aerial shots. You can use it to make out old alignments, seek out old buildings and infrastructure to possibly help you with any research or exploring that you might be doing. And it can also get you some great reference photos for modeling, perhaps areas that are unreachable by car or foot. Something lately from me working on my layout is that I guess we view them from above, and this helps me see what ground cover looks like and the vast variations in our surroundings that we probably don't notice from ground level. And I mean, not to mention it also adds a whole new dimension to any footage that you plan on shooting. So I know that there's some apprehension about learning to fly one of these, and trust me when I say it's easy. If you can drive a car or play video games on a console, you can certainly fly one of these drones from DJI, be it a base model Mini to one of the high-end Mavic Pro 3s. They're super intuitive and very straightforward out of the box. My usual first tip to anyone purchasing one of these is take it to a park or somewhere just really open and fly it around, and it makes a lot of sense very quickly. Now some drones like these have a few extra bells and whistles, like active tracking, which means that you can highlight an object and it will follow, which is great if you're out shooting a passing train and still want to get cinematic tracking footage without really having to do much. So what are your thoughts on drones as a piece of equipment for railway photography, videography, or for even research purposes? My 2 cents. I love it, and I won't be without one in my kit. And I've been very happy with my Mavic Air for the last few years. However, I can certainly see myself switching to this new model, which has been an absolute dream to fly. And even if I didn't get any footage, it was also just a lot of fun flying it. A couple of things to keep in mind when buying one of these. And as someone who's been selling camera gear for the last 6 or so years and have been in the industry for more than 10, here are my tips. Don't buy cheap stuff. I understand the price is appealing, but what I usually see is it does ruin the experience for anyone looking to get into drones, as these cheap ones are generally hard to fly and the footage is average at best. I don't see DJI products getting returned, and fairly rarely with any problems. Majority of the time it always seems to be user error. I do recommend always getting the Fly More kits. You're better off with too many batteries than not enough. As well as that, in Australia we have pretty bright conditions, although maybe not when I filmed this, as it was some classic Melbourne weather. Bright and sunny, then rainy and windy, then back again in the afternoon. Something I've always bought for my drones is ND filters, because you always want to protect your highlights. And it also makes shooting the correct film speeds for video, well, correct. Although the footage that you're seeing now wasn't shot with ND filters on, so it's technically not the correct film speed, but hopefully it still looks good. And lastly, always upgrade your memory cards. Camera tech changes, and so do cards, so if you upgrade cameras, upgrade your SD cards. And lastly, I guess, if you are looking to buy a drone, check the regulations in your area, because there's no point in buying one if you can't use it. So that's it. If you've got any feedback or thoughts on this kind of video, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more videos on photography or videography in relation to railways, then let me know. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll leave you all with some more drone footage just to end the video with. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again really, really soon. Hooroo.
Maximum flight altitude reached.
Thank you.